Hi guys, welcome to NCRT class on Fine Art series. We are going to see the chapter 4, Postmodern Trends in Indian Art and Architecture. This is a free initiative by Vaish IAS. Please do subscribe and like the video and share it to your friends. We expect the maximum support. If the support is not good, we will be turning it into a paid initiative. Let's get on to the video. Post-Mauryan period, many small kingdoms were formed here and there because it started to disintegrate. The Mauryan period was ancient India's largest kingdom. The Shungas, Kanvas, Kushanas, and Guptas emerged in the north and central parts of the India. The Satavahanas, Ikshvakus, Abhiras, Bakataks in southern and western India. These new kingdoms led to development of new art and architecture at different parts of India, which we are going to see in this part. We are going to see about the Bharuch Stupa, which is located in the Satna district of Madhya Pradesh. The sculptures in the Bharuch Stupa are tall-like images of Yaksha and Yakshini of the Mauryan period. This Yaksha and Yakshini continued to exist post-Mauryan also. The images stick to the picture plane. So the images were sticked into the picture plane. That's how it has been sculptured. In the relief panel, narratives had the illusion of 3D dimension, but it was shown with a tilted perspective. At Barhut, the narrative panels are shown with fewer characters, but as the time progresses, despite main fewer characters, main characters and others also started appearing in the picture space. At times, more than one event of one geographical place is clubbed in the picture space so that two events are depicted in a single picture space. This is the Barhut Spa Toran. This is the Toran of the Barhut Spa. And the availability of space. The stupa has the many spaces as we have seen in the previous videos. That is utilized maximum by the sculptures. The folded hands in the narratives as well as the single figures of Yakshas and Yakshini are shown flat clinging to the chest. But in some cases in later times their hands are shown as a natural projection against the chest. So this is how artisans had a collective, like they started to develop from one position to other, whichever which is they feel is good. So that is how it has been developed. So which visual appearances was modified by making the images with deep carvings and pronounced volume and very naturalistic representation of human and animal bodies. This is how they have adapted that. The sculptures of Barhut, Bodhgaya, Sanchi Stupa 2 and Jagayapeta are good examples of this type of sculptures. Some sculptures of Barhut is displayed in Indian Museum in Kolkata. The narrative reliefs of Barhut show how artisans used the pictorial language very effectively to communicate the stories. They used pictorial language to narrate the stories through their sculptures. We know Jataka stories are displayed in the stupas. So one such narrative is Queen Maya Devi's dream, that is an elephant entering her womb. It is shown here. This image is that. And this is a depiction of a Jataka story, Ruru Jataka. In this, a Bodhisattva deer is rescuing a man on his back, and he this man promises that Bodhisattva he will not disclose his identity, but when the king announces some some gifts for who says that he becomes hostile and he reveals the identity. So the king's the picture frame depicting the king standing with his army and then about to shoot an arrow at the deer is pointed here. Both the things is pointed here. Here the king is there and this is the bodhisattva deer copying. And such this stories happen in two different geographical location, but it is depicted in a single frame. And one of the main characteristics is all male images in the first second centuries BC is knotted the headgear. Not it has depicted with having knotted get headgear. This is consistent in many sculptures. Next, we are going to see about the Stanchi Stupa. This is the blueprint of Stanchi Stupa. The Stanchi Stupa is developed at Madura, and Venki in Andhra Pradesh is noteworthy in the stylistic progression of stupas. And in Stanchi Stupa, it has both Pradikshina Pada in upper and lower. Here you see this is upper and lower, two Pradikshina Pada is there, and it has 4 beautifully decorated tornas. This is the and these tornas depict life of Buddha and Jataka stories. The figure composition are high in relief, filling up the entire space. The depiction of posture gets naturalistic, so there is no stiffness in the body. The heads are in considerable projection in the picture space. The rigidity in the contours get reduced and the images are given movement, like there is like no particular position is there has been movement of images have been depicted. The narrations gets elaborated. Carving techniques appear more advanced than Barhut. The symbols has been used to represent Buddhas that has been continued. At Stupa 1, narratives get more elaborated and depiction of dream episode, that Kyung Maya Devi dream, becomes very simple by showing the reclining image of Kyun and elephant at the top. The historical narrations such as Sage of Kushinara, Buddha's visit to Kapilavastu, visit of Ashoka to Ramagraha Stupa are carved with considerable details. These are the important events in the Buddhism, so these are carved with considerable details. In Mathura, images of this period bear the same quality but are different in physiognomic details. As different parts of post-Mauryan period, different parts developed different empires. So they are developed 3 types of schools: Gandhara school, Mathura school, and Amaravati school. Now let's see the differences between the Gandhara school, Mathura school, and Amaravati school based on some factors such as external influence, the materials they used. Based on this, we'll see the differences of this. The external influence has heavy influence of Greek and Hellenistic sculpture, so it is known as Indo-Greek art. You can remember it as Greek influence is there in Gandhara GG. Okay, and Mathura school was developed indigenously, like it was developed originally here, and Amaravati school was developed in Amaravati. This is in you can remember as West, and this is in Central India, and this is in Southern India. The material used here is, in Gandhara school it was initially bluish grey sandstone and later they used mud and stucco. In Mathura they used red sandstone. In Amaravati white marbles were used. uh, in Gandhara school it was Buddhist. It was mainly focused on Buddhist based on, but it was influenced by Greco-Roman. And this Mathura school had Hinduism, Jainism and Buddhism all together, but mostly of Buddhism was made in largest numbers, and Shiva and Vishnu were represented with their ayudas. In Amaravati school, it was mainly of Buddhist influence. Gandhara school was patronized by Kushana rulers. Mathura school was also patronized by Kushana rulers. Amaravati was patronized by Satavahana rulers. Gandhara school was developed in the northwest frontier in the modern day Kandahar, which is located around modern day Afghanistan. Mathura school is developed around Sank and Kankalitilia. It is famous for Jain sculptures. And Amaravati school was developed in Krishna Godavari Valley in South India. This the features of the Buddha sculpture. This point is important to know. Please do read it very carefully. The spiritual state with wavy hair. This is how Buddha is represented in Gandhara school, and he had less ornamentation, and he was seated in yogi postures. In Mathura school, he was delighted, happy Buddha, and muscularity was shown wearing tight dress, and he was seated in Padmasana. On Amaravati school, narrative art was given important, and Buddha was represented by symbols, and lives of Buddha is shown in both human and animal form. This is little important one. Have a good look at this. Please do subscribe to the channel and do check out the other playlists available in the Vaish IAS channel. WhatsApp to the number mentioned in the screen for the details of the biggest UPSC test series. It will be very helpful for the UPSC aspirants. Thank you.